Digimon Liberator has been going on for 12 issues with the formula of the card game. A bit of interesting story and things happening, and then an entire issue of card game battle that lasts a month that drags my interest to an absolute halt. Now, with issue 13, it has brought with it the promise of something different, which has only been reinforced by the last two chapters of the novel as well. Right after I just put out a video questioning who is still reading this, it went through and shows it might change in a direction that I think is far better, which is very rare to see. If you've watched something for long enough at the beginning, it doesn't change that much, but maybe, just maybe, it might be here. With Golden Week happening in Japan, it may have messed with the release schedule a little bit, but we have a couple of chapters of the novel that came out, Debug 9 and 10. Unlike every other novel entry that came out before it, there are no images at all that are in these releases, be they cards or the single event taking place in the chapter that they want to highlight. Despite being touted as full chapters, they are only as long as the parts that have been released previously. But it really is nearly entirely about Debug 10 that I want to talk about today. What it means for the story moving forward, and why it has me the most excited I have been since the end of issue 2 of the comic for Liberator. Hello, my name is Rordrik. I talk a lot all about Digimon. I've been playing Digimon since I was 9 years old when it came out in 1999. I've been around here forever. So join me as we take a deep dive into the most recent story of Digimon and talk about why, for once, I think it can actually be really good. There will be a bit of spoilers going into this as well, so if you have not read up to it in Debug 10, or if you don't care about spoilers, you have been warned now. So, when they first arrive in the new Connectia, which is something that completely changes the game now, they immediately have to start adapting. And immediately it starts to show that they are ready to improvise and adapt, as Beemon, as Fan Beemon, or into Queen Beemon, Forge Beemon, especially is one of its forms, allows it to start building up a base, a cabin that they can already live in. They're already having to adapt. It's something that's showing that this is something that Canon Beemon can do. It's nothing about making the Royal Knights, the Royal Base stronger and putting cards in your security. It's something physically that they can do in the world. This is not something that's tied to just something so artificial and forced as a card game. I know, this is the story all about the card game, so stop complaining about it. I get it. But to make it an interesting story for me and Digimon, these are the kind of things that really amplify it. So they are immediately talking about the lack of card battles. This is the prototype for Digimon Liberator that was just an MMO. There aren't any card battles to be found here. So you aren't going to find an NPC just lying around that will politely ask you to engage in a card battle. This means that danger is lurking everywhere. Of course, it's a story. We know there's only so much danger that something like this is really going to put our main characters in. But the threat of that is out there. Things can happen anytime, anywhere. We never know what might be coming. And that is just such a welcome thing to this that has just been sitting around. All right, we're going to go do this card battle. Yep, and now we do this card battle. And what has changed? What were the stakes of that battle? Again, at the end of the most recent runs, we got a little more story, and they had the stakes there a little bit. But this means that it's everywhere. Also, within this chapter, we brought out some more of the unusual Digimon that actually, probably based on how Bandai releases a lot of things, might make sense for in the prototype and didn't actually make it to the most recent. Especially with Mistymon showing up, which is one that you will almost never see anywhere, and it took me a moment to remember what the Digimon even looked like when he showed up first, because it is just that unusual of one to find. And Betsumon, though Betsumon has guns? Maybe Betsumon's cooler than I thought. But this allows for more unusual Digimon to show up. It allows for them to have unusual things like guns. It allows a whole lot of different opportunities to happen that we may not have when we're restricted to the structure of the card game. And when all of this is happening, it allows the individuals of this group to shine in what they are strong at. Because we've had little bits and pieces of them, and especially not that much about the Digimon. I feel I know absolutely nothing really about most of the partners. The ones in the novel actually know slightly more than the ones in the comic, but because they're so long in between releases, with 3 months in between, you kind of forget, and there's only so much to latch onto. But this allows, when they're ambushed and everything's going down, Ryo puts himself in front. He wants to be the hero. He places himself in front to give the other people time to come up with a plan. He's not the brightest, but he knows his part in the role. He can give Winner and Suzune the space they need in order to plan. Invisimon can be out there as an amazing scout, being very fast, being invisible. Everyone has their parts to play. Winner is there making the plan that they can get out of the situation. Suzune can stay cool under pressure and is leaving a note for Yuki when she finally catches up to them. These are all very cool things that only these individual people can do because they are a group working together. This is a beautiful thing to see, and Digimon has almost always been about teams and groups of people coming together and learning, and it is beautiful to see again. So, as may very well happen, Yuki being such a hothead, if she was actually there, things likely would have gone much less smoother and much more difficult. And speaking of the dangers and stakes going on, they even get captured immediately. They get kidnapped. Altair goes along with them to help protect his friends. So everything is already starting to go wrong, and there is the clear and present threat of some really big bad. Dalphomon. It has been talked about now for many issues, many chapters now, as this big ominous force that's all around. And it has been something that has been missing from quite a bit of Liberator. I mean, Unchained seems to be the antagonist and has some kind of plan, but I still don't really know what that is, and how does she have goons in the real world? All these sorts of different things, I have really no idea about it. And we really don't know much about Dalphomon yet either. But at least there is a clear force there. It could turn out to be absolutely nothing and a letdown still, as all of this could be just a quick thing that they get my hopes up and then it all comes crashing down as we get right back into what it's always been. But that's at least what I think. Debug 10 has been a very interesting chapter. It has rekindled my interest in this novel, unlike a lot of what else has been going on so far, and it's the most excited I've been since issue 2. But what do you think? Is this the way it should go, and is it exciting, or are you actually much more disappointed that we're going away from the card game? Since they broke the EGG, or egg, at the end of the last issue of the comic with 13, is this kind of stuff also going to come into Lacuna and the comic as well, or are they going to keep the card battles and everything over there and let this novel breathe and try and do something else? Only time will tell. But it is interesting. I'm happy to talk about it for once, and maybe, just maybe, that'll be something that all of us Digimon fans can be happy with both sides. Thank you all for watching. I hope you had a wonderful time. Hope I'll see you again soon. If you want to see my most recent video where I was talking about Liberator and some of the issues that came up before, that'll be right over here. Or if you want to watch another video that the algorithm thinks you will enjoy in my immense Digimon library, that'll be down there as well. Thank you everyone. Take care.